So you have established that you need a credit score in America to pretty much do anything. But you don't know where to start. It's all confusing. There's a lot of different terms. You don't know credit cards, this and that. I don't know where to start. Help me. This video is right for you. I will guide you through everything you need to know as a beginner to get started. Everything I have learned to get my credit to 720 and above, this you will learn today. Plus, throughout the video, I will give you a lot of like actionable advice and steps you can take today, right now, after the video, to get started on your journey. Now that we said that, and it's not a financial advice, we can get started on a video. Now, the first thing you need to know about credit is what it is. Now, this is what I'm showing you right now is a credit range. It goes anywhere between 300 to 850. So, as you can see, your goal is to get it over 690 to 720, which is good, but 720 and above generally is considered an excellent credit. You will get the best perks, the lowest interest rates. You will save the most money and get the most opportunity, the most door unlocked after you get to 720 and above, potentially 800, 850, but it's really hard to get. So 720 and above, it's perfect. That is there where you want to go. Now, what is credit itself? What is credit history? Credit is something that lenders, the banks, the corporations, credit unions, whoever wants to give you money, right? They want to give you money, they want to give you credit, but they want to give credit only to those people who are trustworthy. So, for example, they're gonna give you $500,000 for a house. They want, because they make money out of it. America, it's like, I realize that they want to sell you everything, but you just need to have good credit so they can give it to you. So that's the credit history. They will check it every time you will apply for a card, mortgage, car, buy a phone, whatever you want, maybe get a job, or even dating app I shared in the previous video. That will run a credit. Now, those are the ranges. We went through that. How it works is every credit product you have, like a credit card or mortgage, car loan, anything that is lended to you, all the money, everything gets reported to these three credit bureaus. There's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. That's all you need to know pretty much. Based on the data they receive is like credit accounts, if you pay them or not, what's your limit and how much money you use, how long you had this money, the loans for, and if you're responsible pretty much. They will collect the data and use the algorithms to calculate your score, which is from 300 to 850. I will go through what goes into details of the score now. Now, as you're a beginner, that is all you need to know, that the score model is the most popular one. It's called FICO, right? I believe it's a company. And that's the system, how they calculate these three credit bureaus, how they calculate your score. The most important what goes into your score, and you have to notice, it's your payment history. What it means is pretty much, are you paying your bills? Are you paying it on time? And that is the most important. So, for example, if someone gives you $1,000 and you use $1,000 and you never pay it, it will be horrible because you will miss a payment. You don't want to miss a payment ever. So you have to always take money and then pay it off, and they will give you like 30 days or 60 days to pay off your payment, but you have to always pay it off. Now, the second biggest factor that goes into your FICO score or your credit score is amounts owed. It's pretty much your credit utilization, right? So if let's say they give you $1,000 again of credit limit, right? How much of that credit you use per month? Are you using the whole $1,000? So are you maxing out your credit card? No, you don't want to be doing that. You want to be using like as little as possible, ideally between 0 and 10%. So they give you 1,000, use less than $100. Now I'll explain later how it works and how you can use the whole 1,000 and then still have utilization rate pretty low, right? But ideally less than 10%, potentially less than 30, but like try to never get above 30% of used, like $300 out of 1,000 used, because that will mean for the banks and lenders that you you go low on money and you borrow too much, and they don't want to see that, right? Next is the length of credit history, how long you had your accounts for, your oldest account, and the average age of all of your accounts. For example, you were 18 when you opened your first account in 2018. Today is 2024. That's 6 years of your age of your account. And then throughout that time, you opened 10 more, and the recent one was like a year ago. They will also calculate the average age of accounts, and that matters because they will trust someone who has longer history of accounts, like let's say 10 years, over someone who has 10 days or 10 months, right? So length is very important, but it's only 15%, right? Now the next, what goes into your FICO score is a credit mix. It is something that, like, how many accounts you have, how many different accounts. Is there like credit cards? Is there, for example, a phone bill, a car bill, mortgage? So how many credit cards, how many accounts, any pretty much any accounts. And one number that I know the banks want you to have, like for ideal score optimization, they want you to have like over 21 account, I believe. um, that's how much accounts they want you to have. So no, it's not good if you have only one or two. They want to see that you manage different types of debt for a long period of time, and you always paid on time, and you always not borrowed too much debt, right? Oh, it doesn't matter honestly in the past, because this is something you do every month, right? For example, one month you can max out all of your credit cards and your score goes to like 500, right? But the next month you'll pay everything off, and then your score will go to 750, right? So that's something you can control every month. But this, you need to have more accounts. Now currently I have like 8 accounts, and I'm getting to that 21 number, because the more the better. But there's another thing, which is new credit, right? Is how much accounts you opened, let's say in the last 2 years. That you open like 20 new accounts in the last 2 years. They will say that's bad, because it means you just want more money, you don't have enough, you borrow too much, right? So it will like influence only 10% of your credit history, right? Also, soft pulls and hard pulls goes into this, and I'll explain later what that is. So like hard pulls considered the new credit too, right? um, but I say in the beginning, if you just start, forget about this 10% optimization. You're not gonna get it. You need to focus on these 10%, build as much credit as possible for, and have your accounts go and age. And as we age, our accounts will age, and it will just influence on this. And this, like, you want to never miss payment history, and this, you already know what it is. So that is in general what goes into your FICO score. Now, this is what is American average credit scores. As you see, 23% have 780 and above. 5% have very poor, 21 poor. You want to be staying in like good range. So that's going to be most Americans, but I would say like 700 and above is it's not most, from what I've seen from different graphs. But this is what Experian, one of the credit bureaus, shows us. Now, the best thing, and that's a practical advice now, so pay attention. The best thing you can do to start on your credit journey, you need to know your credit score, right? So, what is your credit score? If you never had a credit account, it's probably non existent. You probably, no one knows about you, no credit bureaus, no one. The best thing you can do is check your credit score, right? And luckily in America, there's free apps for that. And one of them, and it's the most popular app, it's CreditKarma. The second one is Credit Sesame. I use both, but mostly I use CreditKarma. I really like their interface. It's just very pleasant to use. Now, the other thing, how you can check your credit score for free, it's all for free, right? And there's some paid options too, but you don't need it really. Is, for example, your bank accounts. Like if you bank with Chase, like for example, like this screenshot, they will show you a credit score from Experian, for example, for free. And if you bank with Capital One, they have the system called CreditWise, pretty much Vantage Score. It's similar to FICO. That's all you need to know right now. But they will show your TransUnion credit report. So if you have these two banks, you already know your two major credit bureaus accounts. And remember, the FICO score is calculated from all three credit bureaus. That's how it works. So another tip I will give you, you want to open bank accounts if you don't have any. You want to open bank accounts with the banks that offer you good credit cards. Why? To build good relationships with them. So when I started in America, I opened with Capital One, and then I got their secured credit card, and then I got their like two more credit cards, and they gave me good limits. When I tried to get a Chase credit card, they didn't even give me, because they, even though I already had like a good some credit history, they didn't give me a credit card because they pretty much didn't know about me. So what I did, I went and I opened Chase account, a checking account, bank, checking and savings account. I got salary there, and they're like, "Oh, okay, this is Bowden. We know him now," and they offered me credit card later. So that's something to consider. Now let's go through some very simple terms, and I'll give you even more tools and practices you can use to build your credit today. Another thing you need to know is credit utilization. As I mentioned, if they give you $10,000 credit and you use 5,000, right, that month, that's going to be 50% utilization. That's not good, right? You want to keep it as low as possible, ideally 1% or 0%, right? But less than 10%. Um, Now, it doesn't mean you can't use $10,000, right, every month, or like even 1,000. You can use $1,000, but just pay it before the statement close date. And now this brings us to the second very important metric, is a statement date. So a statement is pretty much, they go like a month, right? So here's on this screenshot we can see the last statement date on this account was February 13, right? So this means from January 13 to February 13, it's one billing cycle. So they use this information to calculate how much money you spend for the whole month and how much money was on your balance. And balance is a negative thing here. Um, on the February 13th. So February 13th, it was $77 out of 1,000. $1,000 credit limit, right? Yeah, cash. Yeah, pretty much. $1,000 credit limit is how much they give on this account, and $77 was spent. So that's how much? 7.5%, or let's say 8% utilization, right? Which is below 10%, which is not too bad. Now, after that, after this statement closes, you have the due date, and due date is March 9th. So they pretty much give you like almost 4 weeks or less to pay off your balance, right, for that statement date, for that billing cycle, right? The best thing you can do is pay it off immediately. So use your credit on the last day of your statement, pay it before it. Now this is some expert like knowledge, but pretty much always pay your bills on time. So February 13 is your statement, pay it off like the next day, pay off the whole thing, and then start using your credit again. That's how it works. I hope this makes sense. The banks show you this. You have to just get the practice, and I'm not gonna get too much details, but you need to practice and you will know. But the statement date, we covered due date and minimum payment, which is don't pay the minimum, pay the most, because if you only pay the minimum, you will be charged the interest on the remaining. So let's say you paid 25, you have 50. Now those $50, as you can see, you will have the purchase APR, right? The annual percentage rate, which is 30%, which is a lot. Like, you're gonna pay 30% a year for that $50. I would say it's 5,000, not 50. Now that's like $1,200, $1,500 a year you'll pay just to use the debt. Like, you don't want to do that, so pay it off immediately. Pay off. I think you got it. Now, what is a soft and hard inquiry? Because I think it's important you know as well. And I know there's a lot of terms, a lot of information, but stick with me. I promise it will all make sense. And I'll give you more practical advice and you will put it all into practice. So, when you get a credit card, apply for auto loan, mortgage, or get a credit increase, that it's going to be a hard inquiry. Hard inquiry, it's going to pretty much mean they go to your credit, they inquire, and they get the report of your total accounts, your credit score, everything we spoke about, and that will leave a mark on your credit that this bank um, did a hard inquiry. And you want to have them generally as little as possible, but since we are in the beginning of our journeys, you will have like more of them, and that doesn't really matter because, as you remember, that's only a 10% of the whole FICO score, right? That's new credit. But soft inquiry is, and they will tell you this, right? We will perform a soft inquiry, or it's going to be a hard pull, hard pull or soft pull, they call them too. When you like get insurance, there's background checks from your employer, for example. There's credit report from the services I told you about, right? They never perform hard pulls. It's all soft, so that's pretty good. And yeah, that's just generally what you need to know. I covered a lot already. I just realized how much information that is, so don't want to confuse you. Now, if you want to start and you check your credit score, you know how it works, you know the system. Now you want to start building it. Because as I said, if you just arrive to America, your credit score will be like non-existent. It's not gonna be zero, it's not gonna be 500, it's gonna be non-existent. You don't exist, even though you make money, like you have a job, even though you spend money, even though you have checking or savings account, you have debit card, none of that matters. None of that matters. What matters, your credit score, is calculated on how you use debt, how you use the credit, the loans they give you. Now, it doesn't matter how big or small loans are, but credit score is how you use your loans, not your personal money. You can have $100,000 in your bank right now, your credit still will be not existent. So you need to start using credit to build credit. I know. And how you can start building it, one of the best things, and you won't have much options as a newcomer, right? You will have to start with a secured credit card, you will have to start with credit building apps, or become an authorized user on someone else's card. There's pretty much those three are like the main options, right? So if we go for secured credit cards, it works just like a normal credit card. It's probably not going to have any bonuses. We spoke in the previous video, go check it out if you didn't, but it will set you up to start building your credit in America. Now there's a few of them I will share. So one of them is a platinum from Capital One. So how it works, you put down $200, let's say, and they give you $200 credit limit. Now this is extremely small credit limit. Obviously you can't do much with it, but these cards are pretty much for you to start learning about credit cards and credit history and statement dates, due dates, everything we covered, right? You will get it through practice. Now, what you have to do, you should get one of these. It's Capital One, Discover, or Chase, Chase Freedom Rise, or Discover It Secured Credit Card, not right? These three are the most popular ones, and they are pretty good banks. These are the ones I'm familiar with. Now, Chase have, as I showed you, have very good credit cards going forward. So I would recommend start building a relationship with them. Open a checking, open a savings account, get a credit card secured from them, or get it from Capital One because they also have good credit cards going forward. You can do both, honestly, but you don't need more than one secured credit card. Just get one, you know. Now, the second category of how you can start building your credit is get these apps. And it's a real life hack because it doesn't take much to get one. It's literally the kickoff, for example, the first one. It's as low as $5 a month. Like you just pay $5, they give you a credit limit of $750, and you don't do anything else. And this $750 limit gets reported to the bureaus, and you start building your age, your payment history, your utilization rate. These are awesome, right? The second one is Self, also very popular. And how it works also, you pay $35 a month for, let's say, 2 years. In 2 years they will give you all the money minus fees back, but you will have 2 years worth of age of accounts and payment history, which are biggest factors for building your credit score, right? And then there's Credit Strong. Go and explore these, and how this one, for example, works. You pay $100 on 99 per year, and they give you $1,000 credit limit that you cannot use. Obviously, it's just for purposes of building your credit, and it gets reported, it shows up, everything is great. So like these three, I would say go and explore, Kickoff being my favorite one. And that's another way how you can do it. And by the way, I will leave all the links in the description below for bank accounts, for credit cards, for these apps. So like go and explore. Now another way how you can do it is through becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card. Now this will work only for a few people because you already need to know someone in America. Like it probably for most people it's their family, family members like mom or grandma or anyone, right? This will pretty much give you full access to their credit card, and their credit limit and their credit age will be reported on your profile. This is like the best option to do. You don't need to spend and not do anything, just like do it, right? But these people have to have a good credit score of 700 and above, because remember, it really matters. You can't, I don't think you can have bigger credit score than they have. So pick your person that you really trust, that pays their bill on time, that has like a long credit history, a high credit limit, and ask them if you can become an authorized user on their credit card, and then just wait. Because really, to get a FICO score, you need to wait 6 months. Yeah, for 6 months, even with having a lot of accounts, you will just not have any FICO score. You'll have like Experian and Bureau's credit score, but the FICO score, and that's the main score used to buy cars, buy like pretty much anything. That is the most one, and 6 months to get it. So we already found out what you need to do. You have my links, you can go and explore. Now another thing, it's a cool bonus when you open a even Chase account, like a credit account, they will just give you bonuses. But again, like 200 for example, for opening a credit card from Chase, I believe it's Freedom Flex. Wow, this is really gonna be expert, but these are the Federal Reserve rate, mortgage rates, historical data, right? So look, in 70s, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage for buying house, pretty much, you will have 7.5%, 10%. In 80s, it went up to 17.5%, and right now it's floating. You see, in like 2020, it was 2.5%. That's how cheap it was to borrow money before COVID, and COVID hit, and we are at 6.6%. So pretty much the rate that the Federal Reserve decides to establish, and I believe they review it like every quarter, um, that rate will determine how expensive it is to borrow money for cars, houses, everything else, right? And that's how it works. But you can't influence this. You can only influence your own credit score. And to get the best rate possible at the time, because you see, they change, to get the best credit possible, to get the most opportunities and the cheapest rate, to spend the least amount of money, you need to have your own credit score really high. And I want you to leave you today with just one thing, pretty much, because there was a lot we covered. The most important you can do is to start, because I didn't start until at least 8 months in the United States. So as I mentioned, I couldn't rent apartment if I didn't have a friend. I was rejected in the car dealership because my age, like I already had like good credit score, but my age was small. It was like less than a year. And if it's less than a year, you can't even like buy a car, right? So that's annoying. And there's nothing you can really do to rush it. You just have to start. Um, and that's something I want to leave you with today. So please go ahead, download Credit Karma and or Credit Sesame. Check your credit score, which is probably non-existent, but don't worry because it will update soon. If you go and open like a Kickoff or get a secured credit card, um, you will start getting your credit score. You will keep checking it in Credit Karma, pay your bills on time, learn more about credit, and you will be on your way to get the best credit score in the United States, and then it will open doors for you for cars, houses, better, even some jobs. Check your credit, and just everything you really want. It's all like you can all do it if you manage credit responsibly. And that's America, that's how it works, and I wish you the best. In the next video, I will speak about how I got my credit from 0 to 720 in less than a year, and I will also encourage you to watch my old video where I spoke about why it's important to have credit in the United States. There's even like some silly things like dating apps that check your credit score. That's just crazy. Go check it out if you didn't. And check out my very first video I made about my first year in the United States and how I have made it. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about credit? How would you start? What is your credit score? And what's the most important for you? Why it's most important to have credit? Um, it was a pleasure. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.